Good morning. The time is 9 a.m. and I will call to order the January 26, 2022 Enforcement Committee meeting of the Contractor State License Board. I am Rodney Cobos, Enforcement Committee Chair. Board Member Don Giarratano has an approved absence. Please note that only board members who are members of the Standing Committee may participate in this committee meeting. Other board members who are in attendance may observe but cannot ask questions or participate in the discussion. Committee members, to mitigate any potential bandwidth issues, we ask that you turn off your video camera. When you would like to comment at any time during the meeting, please select the raise your hand icon in the WebEx application. I will call on committee members to speak. When called upon, please unmute yourself, and when finished, return to mute. You will also need to click on the raise your hand icon to lower your hand. Mariah, please call roll and confirm we have a quorum.
Rodney Cobos.
Present.
David De La Torre.
Here.
Don Giarratano. Absent. Diana Love.
Here.
Michael Mark.
Here.
Cindi Rich.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask you to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is Agenda Item B, our public comment section. This item is provided for public comment pertaining to items not on the agenda. To allow this committee enough time to conduct its full schedule of business, I will be limiting public comment to 3 minutes apiece. Please note that the state law prohibits committee members from discussing any matter brought up during public comment. We are also not allowed to act on any item not on the agenda. If you want the committee to discuss a topic not on the agenda, you can ask us to consider placing that issue on the agenda of a future meeting. If you have an application, complaint, or disciplinary charges pending before the board, we ask that you not disclose the details of your case or pending complaint. Committee members are not permitted to receive evidence or information. It's not part of the administrative record in the case. If your comments are related to a specific agenda item, you can make your comments now, but you may want to wait until that item comes up for discussion. We will ask for public comment before acting on any item. Shelley Jones is our host and moderator for today. She will be assisting us by monitoring public comment. Do any committee members have an agenda? Any committee members have an item that would like to place on a future meeting agenda? Shelley, are there any members of the public who wish to address the committee or to offer an agenda item for a future meeting?
This is the moderator. For public comment today, you'll be utilizing that question and answer feature or raising your hand. To locate the Q&A feature, you will find that Q&A icon on your screen, which looks like a question mark inside of a square. When you click on that, it will open a text box, and in that text box, you can type, "I would like to make a comment," and submit that to our panelists. To raise your hand, you can hover your mouse over your name. To the right of your name, you will see a small hand icon, and if you click on that, it will raise your hand.
Thank you.
This time, I'm not seeing any requests.
Okay, thank you. We are on agenda item C, which is the establishment of the Enforcement Division strategic plan objectives and target dates. You can find the objectives on page 122 of your packet. We will begin with strategic objective items 2.1, which reads, leverage current enforcement tools letters of admonishment and accusations to increase licensee and business knowledge by requiring contractors subject to the CSLB corrective action take specified courses. CSLB enforcement staff will meet with construction industry leaders and government agency partners to determine what courses would be best to meet the needs of licensees, and will work with the Public Affairs Office to develop additional online training courses, such as the building permit training video that can be found on the CSLB website. Enforcement staff has a set target date of July 2022 to begin the process of identifying training needs. Any comments from committee members on Objective 2.1? Strategic Objective Items 2.1 states, research the scope of unlicensed practice, evaluate allocated enforcement resources, and meet with industry stakeholders to review enforcement strategies. CSLB enforcement leadership will identify a working group that will meet to prepare a scope of work for an outside consultant to be hired to assist in developing a plan to address unlicensed practice and its impacts on the underground economy. The proposal for hiring a consultant will be presented to the members of the Enforcement Committee by the target date of July 2022. Any comments from committee members on item 2.2? Seeing none, moving on to strategic item 2.3. This objective states, coordinate educational workshops with agency partners to assist applicants and licensees in complying with contractor state license law and other business requirements. CSLB staff will make a presentation at the March 2022 meeting of the Joint Enforcement Strike Force to request their support for this objective. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Joint Enforcement Strike Force, or JESF, JESF is a statutorily established collaboration of California tax, wage, workplace safety, and state licensing agencies. Participants include Employment Development Department, Department of Industrial Relations, Division of the Labor Standards Enforcement, and Division of Occupational Safety and Health, and the Department of Insurance. JESF works with local and federal agencies to combat the underground economy in California, promote a level playing field for California businesses. CSLB staff will present an educational workshop plan to the Enforcement Committee by the target date of July 2022. Any comments from committee members on items 2.3?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Board Member David Del Torre. Quick question, in today's climate, are these being proposed remotely or in person?
I will turn that question over to David.
I'll take care of it. Thanks, Rodney, and thanks, David. I guess if we were doing it today, it would be probably remotely, but I think we're going to just wait and see. And hopefully we can do these in person. Most of these partner agencies already do some kind of workshops. So our goal and our hope is that we participate in their existing ones to include CSLB avenues and paths for applicants and people to become licensed in the field of construction, along with learning how to do EDD requirements, DLSC, and things like that. So remotely, probably in the early, if we were to do this soon, but hopefully as time in the COVID clears up, we could probably do those in person. And I believe, once that happens, it'll be more effective. I hope I answered your question.
I understand. It's fluid. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, strategic objective item 2.4 reads, review and create a structured enforcement training program with an enforcement academy to achieve statewide investigation and legal action consistency. CSLB staff has set a target date of July 2023. CSLB staff will create an updated training program and enforcement academy for committee consideration. Any comments from the committee members on Objective 2.4? Seeing none. Strategic objective item 2.
Board Member Cobos, I do have a question. For item 2.4, this enforcement academy, can staff enlighten us a little bit more on this particular item?
Sure. Prior to COVID, we consistently had a weekly enforcement academy with trainings from a retired CHP officer as well as one of our liaisons from the Attorney General's office about investigation processes. All this is available. I'd be happy to share with you what we do, the agenda of the training. It's a week long, talks about interviewing techniques. Geez, it's skipping my mind, but again, it's a week-long training that we've done with enforcement staff. As the turnover happens, we tend to get new staff and they need new additional training on how to investigate, what to investigate, elements of an investigation, and things like that. So this is, and because of COVID, we've had to obviously scale down. We have conducted video trainings where our AG is on the other line and our staff are on the other line. We do video trainings on how to do video interviews, how to conduct those type of things, recording, the legalities of recording somebody online, doing identifications and verifying documents as it relates to a construction complaint that a consumer may have. So we're hoping, as we get through this COVID, that we can re-implement the week-long enforcement academy that we used to have, and all the fundamentals and foundations are already in place. So it's just really starting again and just probably revamping it to today's new challenges that our enforcement staff are facing. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. David?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I do have a follow-up question to that. So would it be under our current unit, or would we be increasing our enforcement unit?
Do you mean like increasing staff?
Staff, correct, yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, we do have some vacancies, and I think somebody will report on that, and we are recruiting very actively and facing the challenges of interviews and COVID as well. But we have significant amount of current staff that are probably 5 years or less with CSLB enforcement, and we've been doing a great job of getting training. We've been doing great work, but again, there's some details that probably need to be done that the Enforcement Academy and the presenters do a great job at getting all the people involved and getting the training and the information they need to perform their job effectively and efficiently. So if we get new staff, well, obviously they'll be part of it, but we presently have enough people that probably have enough or need enough experience that they can attend this academy and be an effective investigator.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Any other comments on 2.4? Seeing none. Strategic objective item 2.5 states, develop a plan for public work enforcement to perform outreach to awarding agencies and coordinate public work investigations with compliance groups and government entities to enforce contractor state license law requirements. CSLB staff will present a plan to the Enforcement Committee that will likely include redirection of 2 existing investigators to investigate public works complaints and to act as liaisons to awarding agencies, compliance organizations, and other government entities. This plan will be presented to the Enforcement Committee by the target date of July 2022. Any comments from committee members on items 2.5?
I have a comment, Mr. Chair. This is Diana Love. I just wanted to make sure you started out by saying develop a plan. That seems to be stricken, and it says research the need to establish. Has that been changed back to develop?
Well, let me just add by saying that the redirection of the plan is already in place about how we're going to investigate those partnering agencies, compliance organizations, investigation. We've always done that. We already have these two positions in our quality assurance units existing now. We have one person filled that position. We have a vacancy that we're recruiting for to conduct that. So the plan is to identify the need for, if we do need additional staff, but currently we're going to use two people to accomplish this goal that we're trying to accomplish. If we do reach the point where we think we need more staff, we will come back to the board and ask for that. But in the meantime, this is going to address the immediate issue of our compliance agencies filing complaints, and we're investigating them timely.
So we're researching.
Well, yeah, we're going to be doing both. The plan is developed. We're going to continue to do it, and if while we're doing this, investigating these, we could be researching to see if we need additional staffing to address this matter.
Okay.
That make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe I saw Michael's hand up.
Yes, Chair Cobos, thank you. In my opinion, this is a very important strategic goal, as CSLB is the licensing agency and combating a lot of the underground economy and public works. This would be a great way for CSLB to partner with the DSLE and different partnerships to combat some of the underground economy for the consumers of California. So I appreciate the strategic goal.
Thank you, Michael.
Any other comments on 2.5?
Yeah, Rodney, it's Dave Feld. I just wanted to just comment a little bit about what Jesse said, maybe elaborate a little bit on it. What I think Jesse's proposing is that we're going to meet with awarding agencies, with compliance groups, research the need to take action on contractors, and then come back to the enforcement committee with a plan. What Jesse said is there's two positions that have been identified for this, but I really think we need the enforcement committee's support, as we determine what type of referrals we're going to work. Specifically, are we going to look at whether a contractor is properly licensed? Are we going to get into the prevailing wage issues? It's that kind of thing that the plan will include, and come back to the enforcement committee so that we don't overreach and so that we're effective with the resources we have.
Thank you, David. Any other comments on committee members' comments on 2.5? Okay. The final enforcement strategic objective is item 2.6 and states, continue to enforce workers' compensation insurance requirements to protect consumers and workers and scrutinize licensees who self-certify they have no employees. On January 13, 2021, Senator Dodd introduced Senate Bill 216, which would require mandatory workers' compensation insurance for all license classifications. This bill was most recently updated on March 15, 2021 in the Senate and is active in the legislative process. As such, the target date is ongoing. Are there any comments from committee members on items 2.5? Seeing none, that concludes the update of the enforcement strategic objectives.
Mr. Chair, let's ask for public comment on this item.
Thank you, Michael. Committee members, do we have any final comments or suggestions? Seeing none. Shelley, is there any public comment?
I do not see any requests for comment at this time.
Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the enforcement strategic plan?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Is that Mr. De La Torre and Ms. Love?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion, a second, motion carries.
There has to be a vote, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's been, thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other questions, discussions? Seeing none, we'll take a vote.
Rodney Cobos,
Yes.
David De La Torre,
Aye.
Don Giarratano, excused absence, Diana Love,
Aye.
Michael Mark,
Aye.
Cindi Rich.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mariah. Is there any further comment from committee members? Michael?
Yeah, I do have just a quick comment. Overall, I believe all the strategic goals, it's in line with our mission there of helping reduce and unlicensed activities. All of these goals that was passed today, and it's going to help us for coming 22 year. So.
All right, thank you, Michael. Any other comments from committee members? Shelley, is there any public comment?
I'm not seeing any requests at this time.
Thank you. Mariah, please call roll.
Rodney Cobos,
Here.
David De La Torre,
Aye.
Don Giarratano, approved absence, Diana Love,
Here.
Michael Mark,
I'm here. I'm confused. What is this roll call vote for?
Mr. Chair, the motion already carried on this agenda item.
Okay, I apologize. I thought we had to take a roll call at the end of the committee. Okay, thank you.
If there's no further business, you can adjourn.
Okay, thank you, Michael. We have completed all the agenda items scheduled today. After the enforcement committee meeting, short break to transition to the Public Affairs Committee meeting, which will be led by Public Affairs Chair Michael Mark. Do I have a motion to adjourn the executive committee?
I move we adjourn. This is
Second.
Diana Love.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any questions? Okay, we are adjourned.
Okay, then. So we'll start our Public Affairs Committee meeting. Good morning. The time is now 9:24. Make sure everyone can hear me. I call to order the January 26, 2022 meeting of the Public Affairs Committee. My name is Michael Mark. I am the committee chair. Please note that committee member Donald Giarratano has been excused today. Only board members who are members of the Public Affairs Committee may participate in this committee meeting. Other board members who are in attendance may observe but cannot ask questions or participate in the discussion. Committee members, we will be using cameras during the meeting. To mitigate any potential bandwidth issues, we ask that you turn off your video camera when you are not speaking. When you would like to comment during the meeting, please turn on your camera or select the raise your hand icon in the WebEx application. I will call committee members to speak. When called upon, please unmute yourself, and when finished, return to mute and turn off your camera. Shelley Jones is our host and moderator today. She will be assisting us by monitoring public comment. Mariah, can you please call roll and establish a quorum?
Michael Mark,
Here.
Rodney Cobos,
Here.
David De La Torre,
Here.
Don Giarratano, excused absence. Diana Love,
Here.
Cindi Rich.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So our next item is agenda item B, our public comment section. This item is provided for public comment pertaining to items not on the agenda. To allow this committee enough time to conduct its full schedule of business, I will be limiting public comment to 3 minutes each. Please note that state law prohibits committee members from discussing any matter brought up during public comment. We are not allowed to act on any item not on the agenda. If you want the committee to discuss a topic not on the agenda, you can ask us to consider placing that issue on the agenda for a future meeting. If you have an application, a complaint, or disciplinary charges pending before the board, we ask that you not discuss the details of your case or pending complaint. Committee members are not permitted to receive evidence or information that is not part of the administrative record in the case. If your comments are related to a specific agenda item, you can make your comments now, but you may want to wait until the item comes up for discussion. We will ask public comment before acting on any item. Shelley, can you see if there's any members of the public who wish to address the committee or offer an agenda item for a future meeting?
I currently do not see any hand raises, nor do I see any requests in the QA or chat.
All right, thank you. Are there any committee members that have an item that would like to be placed on a future meeting agenda? Seeing no hands raised, we will be moving on to agenda item C. Review, discussion, and possible action on target dates for the public affairs strategic objectives of the board's 2022-2024 strategic plan. The full draft of the 2022-2024 strategic plan begins on page 109. The public affairs objectives and targets dates, which we'll be reviewing and discussing today, starts on page 124 of your meeting packet. Public Affairs Manager Joya Emmerd is also joining us today and will be available to answer any questions. We will begin with item 4.1. Expand CSLB's online presence through both standard platforms and emerging technologies to improve effectiveness in educating consumers in the industry. As you can see, this objective was edited to provide additional clarity. New text is noted as underlined, and deleted text is shown as a strikeout. Currently, public affairs staff is boosting our consumer protection message by increasing the number of short video clips on social media and by translating existing videos into Spanish. Video is one of the fastest growing forms of media on social platforms, and staff is also exploring increased use of apps such as Nextdoor and considering a monthly Facebook Live video presentation and also examining podcasting opportunities. In addition, I would like to see us work with partners utilizing websites and social media to help educate licensees and the public. I recommend that public affairs staff report back to the committee on their progress in June 2022. This objective is an ongoing effort. Are there any comments from committee members on objective 4.1? Seeing no hands raised, and please, Shelley, if you see a hand raised, please stop me. Moving on to item 4.2, establish a CSLB specific new board member orientation to educate board members about legislative process, licensing and testing functions, and enforcement procedures. It is important that new board members be educated about CSLB to better fulfill their duties. Therefore, I recommend that the first action to be set up an internal work group made up of representatives from public affairs, licensing, legislation, and enforcement divisions to determine content that will best assess new board members. I would like a draft script presented to the committee in December 2022. The proposed target date for a completed video would be January 2023. Are there any comments from committee members on objective 4.2?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Board Member Delatorre.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I think it's great. I know when I was first appointed to the board, I stepped on my share of landmines, and I still do. But I think it's very appropriate. I know that the CSLB does offer the information, but if you don't fish it out, it's you won't find it. And following procedure, there's a lot of moving parts to this board. So I definitely support and very appropriate. Thank you.
I'll have to agree with you. When I was a new board member, I constantly looked at that new board member binder that was hundreds and hundreds of pages, but it was easily able to find the proper tab of information. So yes, I believe it's very, very important. Any other comments for 4.2? Seeing none. Our next item is item 4.3. Update the website content, accessibility, and navigation to improve the user experience. As you can see, this objective was edited to provide additional clarity. New text is noted as underlined. I recommend CSLB hold a stakeholder meeting that includes consumer and industrial representatives and conduct a survey to better understand the needs of the public and licensees as they relate to the website. Public Affairs can then conduct a complete review of the CSLB website to determine how better to organize information so it's easier to navigate and be more friendly. Staff will begin this process right away and report back to the committee in June 2022. This objective is ongoing as the website will need continued attention and updating. Are there any comments from committee members on objective 4.3? Seeing none, I do have a comment. Obviously, our website's one of the most used tools for license check, and I think that's probably one of our top hits on our website. So keep up the good work and making sure that our website is staying updated. Okay, so moving on to item 4.4. Develop video tutorials on processes and procedures to reduce consumer, licensee, and applicant errors. For example, how to complete forms. As you can see, this objective was edited. New text is noted as underlined and deleted text is shown as strikeout. I recommend that public affairs, enforcement, and licensing staff works together to determine which common user errors occur when fulfilling applications and forms, to then create short tutorial videos to assist licensees and the public with the proper completion and submittal of these forms. The proposed target date to meet with other CSLB divisions is spring 2022, and staff will report back to the committee on their findings in June 2022. Staff will then produce 2 videos per year beginning this year. Is there any comments from committee members on objective 4.4? I think even, I guess seeing no comments, I do have a comment. I think even when I read this particular strategic item 4.4, I think I wrote applicant errors, and then I think I said for example. So maybe staff, and if we maybe can change EG to for example, maybe makes it a little bit easier to read. Is there any thoughts on that?
We will note that change.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on. The last is item 4.5. Develop communications with C20, warm, air, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and the classification C38 refrigeration contractors on energy work in line with Governor Newsom's carbon reduction goals. As a CSLB public board member and sheet metal workers local 104 business representative, I'm very excited about the opportunity this objective provides to protect consumers and further Governor Newsom's decarbonization goals by ensuring that a contractor obtains a building permit when replacing a heating and air conditioning system. The permit ensures that the system is installed appropriately and the existing ductwork is pressure tested to confirm it does not have excessive leakage. Consumers benefit from the lower energy bills because heating and cooling is not lost by excessive leakage in an attic. I am looking forward to working with staff to develop public outreach information on this topic. I recommend staff being development of communications now with completion in December 22. Progress will be shared with the committee in June 2022. Are there any comments from committee members on objective 4.5? Seeing no hands raised. No comments, right, Shelley? Okay. Committee members, do you have any final comments or suggestions on any and all the strategic goals, 4.1 through 4.5? Seeing none. Shelley, is there any public comment for public affairs strategic goals?
I'm not seeing any hand raises and not seeing any requests through the Q&A or the chat.
Thank you, Shelley. So at this time, is there a motion to approve the public affairs strategic plan objectives and target completion dates?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by David De La Torre and a second by Rodney Cobos. Is there any further comment from committee members? Shelley, can you look once again? Is there any other public comment?
Not seeing any.
Okay, thank you. Mariah, can you please call roll?
Michael Mark,
Yes.
Rodney Cobos,
Aye.
David De La Torre,
Aye.
John Giarratano, approved absence, Diana Love,
Aye.
Cindi Rich.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. This completes the committee business for today. Can I please get a motion to adjourn the Public Affairs Committee meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So our next scheduled meeting is the Executive Committee meeting, which will be led by Executive Committee Chair Susan Granzella, which will begin at 10 a.m. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.